Hi, this is Kara McNall, and I'm an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up. And today I'm going to show you how to make a Thinking of You card, which could easily be turned into a sympathy or get well card. So here's our card sample today, and we just do a little bit of stamping in this card. I use the Thinking of You, please know that I care sentiment along with the flowers. And on the envelope, I carry that pattern right to the front of the envelope and on the flap as well. Just adds a little bit to your envelope. So let's get started on making this card. The card base is Old Olive, and it is cut at 5.5 by 8.5 and scored at 4 1/4. And then what I did with my Big Shot and the petal burst embossing folder was I did that. Of course, I did this ahead of time to just save time on the video. But I line up the embossing folder so that the paper is right along this edge here, so you don't go over too far or you don't go as much as you need to. So that's just lined up. In this embossing folder is it's a tight fit, but it does go through sideways. So that's how we do the card base, and we'll set that aside. Our next step is to do some stamping. So I have a piece of Whisper White, and that's cut 4 by 5 1/4. And we'll need some scrap paper because we'll be stamping off. We'll just bring some scrap paper in here, and we're going to ink up with Old Olive ink. And we'll take the flower, and we'll just ink this up. And I like to stamp on the side here, sideways. So we're just going to stamp one image there, and then I like to go in a different direction so I don't get the same pattern, and just a little bit off the edge here. And I'll take a look at it, and that looks fine. So we'll set that aside for it to dry. Our next step is to stamp the sentiment, and I'm using Thinking of You, please know that I care. Hopefully I'll get this straight. If not, there's always two sides to every paper. Yeah, it's a little crooked, so let's just try that one again. Let's use the table here. Okay, that's better. So we'll close up the ink pad. We don't need that anymore. And our next step is to use a piece of Rich Razzleberry cardstock, and that is cut 2 1/4 by 5 1/2. And we're going to layer it with the Petal Garden Designer Series paper, and this piece is cut 2 by 5 1/2. So we'll just run our adhesive on the back side. And we're going to line it up flush to the top and the bottom with 1/4 inch on both sides. Just trying to keep it as straight as possible. Okay, and the next thing we're going to do is we're going to use a little bit of Tombow glue. I find the Tombow glue adheres to embossed cardstock better than snail adhesive. You could use your Fast Fuse as well. That would work. So we'll just add the Tombow glue there. And then I'll look at the pattern and decide which way I want the roses to appear. So do I want them this way, or do I want it this way? So I think it looks better this way because the leaves are coming down. So I want to put this about 1/2 inch from the left side. And of course, again, it's flush top and bottom. So once you get this adhered down, I like to press on the front side, get it stuck, because the Tombow glue does adhere very quickly. And then I also like to press it from this side. So now I'm looking to see if I have a little bit of paper running over the edge, which I do. So what you can do, there's not a lot here, but you could take your paper snips and just trim off any excess that you may have. So I just had just a tiny bit. Okay. And then while we have our card open, we might as well adhere the inside panel. So I'll just run a little bit of adhesive on the top side, and we'll just press that down 1/4 inch on all 4 sides. Our next step is to take our stamped sentiment, and I did this beforehand. I used the what are they called? They're called the layering square framelit dies, and these are great because you can there's so many different sizes, and it looks pretty good with a scalloped and a square here. So what we'll do now is just adhere the sentiment. Here's my mistake side. And then we will just put this on 1/4 of an inch on all 4 sides. And then what we're going to do is add some dimensionals to the back side, and we'll put one in each of the corners and also in the middle. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I just press down with my fingernail to get these to pop up very quickly, and we'll just peel those off. And the last one here. Okay, we'll get those out of the way. Our next step is to take, what we're going to do is, I don't know if you can see, but I've got a little bit of baker twine here, so I'll show you how to do that. I've got a piece of baker's twine that's probably about 8 to 9 inches. You could probably get away with 7, but I just use the dimensionals as the adhesive, and I just, kind of just fussy around with it, just making some swirl patterns here. Hopefully, I think it was out of the picture there. Come back in, just using the dimensionals and sticking this down here and there, and we'll see what it looks like. That's fine. So that piece, that end is just a little bit too long, so we'll just snip that off. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to add this to our card front, and I'd like to have about at least 1/4 of an inch on this side. More so, I'm looking to see that it's centered here amongst the side of this panel. So I'll just press that down, and then I'll show you a trick to color your rhinestones. So I use a Sharpie pen, and I'm just looking for my rhinestones. Where'd they disappear to? Oh, there they are. Okay, so I've got some rhinestones here, and they come in 3 different sizes. So what I am going to do is I'm just going to color in with the Sharpie pen, one from each size. So the Sharpie pens have alcohol in them, so that it is a permanent ink. So we've got 3 there, and I'm going to bring in my paper piercing tool, and again my card, and I'm just going to take these off, and I'm going to place them, I like to just kind of place them anywhere I can that's not like a repeating pattern, but just throughout the card. So we'll put one over there. And maybe I'll put one, let's put one over here, I don't know, right there. And then on the small one, these are attached on this strip, so I need to come in with my paper snips just to cut this one off here. And then we'll set this one right on, I'm going to set it up here, just so it gives a little bit more of, there's one here, here, and over here. So that's your card for today, using Thoughts and Prayers stamp set along with the Petal Garden Designer Series paper. And like I said, you can make lots of different cards. If you're making a lot of the same pattern, this is an easy, quick way to make a lot of cards. And like I said, at the end of the video, I was going to show you another one from the Thoughts and Prayers. So a simple change of your sentiment still makes the card look great. So here's 2 examples of using Thoughts and Prayers. And if for any of these supplies and you're looking to purchase, or if you would like to order from my online store, please visit my website at inspiredbygram.com. Thanks for watching and have a great day.